Hey, Anthony. Another city, another day for you, huh?
I'm in the land of no COVID.
I'm Anthony. Welcome to No Vacancy Live. That's my friend Glenn.
You're watching the #1 show in hospitality. Anthony Melchiori, ooh, look at you outside. Where are you, my friend?
Let's see. Hold on a second. Can you see the pool?
I sure can. That looks pretty awesome.
Yeah, I know I'm going to drop my iPad, so I'm a little scared. Let's see. I'll show you one thing. You know where I'm at. Let's see if our guests know.
All right, everybody.
Know where I'm at. They were very very nice to give me a very nice room.
Yep. Look at that.
They were nice to give me a very nice room.
Yeah, look at that.
And it's a very it's a new
where you think Anthony is at. We'll wait a couple of minutes before revealing his location.
It's in a new tower. It's in a new tower of the building. And they were very nice enough to give me one of their suites. So I'm only here for the night. I'm actually leaving right after the podcast. But now I'm going to show you something that's going to give away the it's going to give away, that's the closet area. It's going to give away the hotel. Right. Ready? What hotel am I at?
Colleen says Florida, so she narrowed down the state.
All right. Pillowcase?
That's pretty big giveaway. I bet people are going to be able to guess that. Now, remember, everyone's on a little bit of a time delay than we are, so those answers will start to come in just a moment or two. Good morning, everybody. Great to see everybody. All right, let's get started. Anthony, that looks really cool. I wish I was there with you. But
where are you? You look like you're pretty cool.
Right? Isn't this an awesome place? Today, I am not at the Fairmont Olympic, which is Seattle's iconic hotel, opened in 1924. They've got a brand new lobby bar experience there right behind me. It's going to be unveiled to the public on April 30th this year, and the whole area has changed downstairs. So beautiful, very cool renovation that I think goes on point with their sorry, everybody's correctly. Hard Rock. All right. It's not Hard Rock Universal. It's a different Hard Rock. It's in Florida. Think West. And then you guys will.
So it's not the one in Hollywood. It's the one in Tampa.
Right. All right. So, Anthony, I didn't want to tell you this before we got on air, but I've got some big news today. This is, I made a big decision in my life, and this is going to be the last episode ever of No Vacancy Live. I've decided to pack it all up and move to Bhutan, take a vow of silence, and never speak to anybody again. How do you feel about this decision that I've made?
All I know is Bhutan in Spanish or Italian means something different than.
All right. And of course, Dan, I'm with everybody. It's April Fool's joke. I'm not going anywhere. Y'all could have dragged me away. I freaking love this business too much. Although I do fantasize about going to an exotic location like Bhutan. That would be really cool. But someone who has been going to really cool locations. Our first guest of the show. We've got not one, we've got two guests today. The wonderful, the incredible Concierge, Miss Sarah Dandashy. How are you?
Hello. Hi guys. It's nice to be back and to see you guys. And I know it's I've been going to a lot of different places, but I'm back in sunny Los Angeles, so it's nice to take a breather.
The good news is every time I go to Florida or Los Angeles, it's always
Anthony, you're quiet. That was awfully
muted. Back there.
All right, so there you go. That was Anthony Melchiori. We're going to just look at that empty space.
That was our show.
That's all right. Let's just get on with it, Sarah. Yeah, so we can go through it. So, all right, big news out there that you want to talk about. People are getting on airplanes again, maybe much to the chagrin of the CDC and the Biden administration. I was one of those passengers last week. I'm seeing a palpable difference going on in airports.
Definitely. So the TSA is actually just, they announced that they've screened over 1 million passengers for now. They announced a couple days ago it was 20 days in a row, but it's now probably just at about 22 days in a row. Now, for a frame of reference, because it's like, what is 1 million passengers a day? To get an idea of that, in 2016, some of these time frames were, it was more of like 2 million. So we're still definitely way down. But it's also regional. And I wanted to talk about this just because in the past week, I was able to be, I'm based in Los Angeles, but I was in Florida. So I was in Fort Lauderdale. I transferred through Atlanta, and then I was in San Francisco Airport. And it was crazy to see the difference. Fort Lauderdale, moderately busy. That was cool. Atlanta, a zoo, definitely very, very full. And San Francisco, like myself and 5 other people in the particular terminal I was in. So it was crazy to see the stark difference. Glenn, you were just traveling. Have you seen?
I was in Jacksonville, and of course, Jacksonville was a little bit more restrained when it came to people, more because I think of being a regional airport, traffic through there. When I was at JFK, Terminal 4, which is the big Delta terminal, which will get us to our next story in a minute, that there was lots and lots and lots of people. I put up a video, just 20-second clip of what it was like at 6:30 in the morning on March 24th. And I've gotten already like 10,000 views on that video because it was like such a big deal in the airport again. But Sarah, I got some numbers for you. Yesterday, 1.278 million. In 2019, it was 2.15 million. Last year at this time, when the crisis had settled in, 136,000 went through TSA. So what a difference a year makes. Thank goodness we're getting back, right?
Oh, definitely. But it's so interesting to see like where we are. So maybe it's that 50%-ish range, if you want to, call it that. Then certainly compared to last year, which was in essence like 5%.
I know, but we're not even going to bother talking about last year's figures because that is hopefully going to be just a one-year anomaly that we'll never have to deal with again in our lifetimes, right? So, Sarah, on that same news, Delta is going to start rebooking their middle seats, I think May 1st, right?
May 1st, exactly. Now, again, this is really interesting. And for those that have been following as far as the different airlines, what they're doing, and Delta has really like made a lot of they've been in the news. They've really, because they're really one of the last ones that have continued to block middle seats. And so for people that are really concerned with that, they've really gained consumer confidence, and it may not be for their best interest financially, but they are playing the long game. And I mean, I have to say, I fly Delta as well too. So I'm curious to see, how people see after that. But the CEO, so Ed Bastian, actually said that they kind of in their research to make this decision, because of course they don't just make these decisions willy-nilly, they're kind of looking at everything, and they figured that by May 1st, a good portion of the people that will be traveling with them will at least be vaccinated, or at least have the first vaccine. So again, it's kind of like, okay, I think we can be a little bit, we don't have to block the middle seats anymore. But then he did also say, which I appreciate, he's like, don't confuse these actions with a sort of return to normal. It's sort of this baby steps back to whatever that normal will be when we get there. So I thought that was interesting.
Now, interestingly enough, when they say middle seat blocked, you think that there's going to be a seat next to you open. That's not the case. If you go through the fine print, or like me, go on an airplane and sit in a plane that's got a 2-3 configuration and suddenly find yourself sitting next to someone, that might be a little bit of a surprise. I know I was surprised, especially since I didn't get my first vaccination until yesterday. So a little bit of warning for people out there. I know I'm pretty excited too. I don't like to brag, but I took it like a champ. I didn't even need a lollipop or anything like that to not try. So,
I got a cookie.
I did not get any snack foods whatsoever. Although I got to admit, there was a White Castle right next door to where I got my shot, and I was very tempted. But
you should have treated yourself.
Well, I should have, but when I was in Jacksonville last week, I had the unfortunate experience of catching myself in the mirror and going, "Oh, hello, COVID-20." So I need to back off that for a little bit. So.
I think we're all in that phase right now. It was like we've done all the different phases, and right now all of us are like, "Oh, okay, cool. Gyms can open again, please."
Right, so we're starting to run down a little bit on time, but I know you wanted to talk about golf booming during the pandemic, and I saw skiing did great this winter. What does that really tell you? Because to me, golf was kind of on the way out in terms of something being a cultural phenomenon. Of course, amongst business people and the Shishi Richie Rich, it's been there.
Mhm.
I've seen a decline in user interest in golf over the number of years. What do you think this means?
So, I mean, it's interesting. Obviously, we understand why it has been such an attractive sort of activity to do because it's outdoors, you can socially distance. So it lends itself naturally to the pandemic as far as being something that a lot of people can do and feel comfortable doing. Now, I thought this was an interesting stat, and I don't know if you saw this, but basically the number of rounds that were played last year, so in 2020, were almost 500 million, which has basically been the most since 2006.
Woo!
So, and it's basically it's the highest year-over-year increase, which is 14% since 1997. So that's how it grew from 1997 to 2006, and then now this is the highest it's been. So, just goes to show you, people are out there. Don't ask me for any golf terminology, though, please.
All right. Well, I think you hit an eagle on that one, right? Although I have a feeling if Anthony doesn't come back, the rest of the show is going to be a real bogey for me. All right. How's that for a little golf terminology?
Wow. That's good.
Not much of a golfer myself, although I was in 1984, I think, middle school champion at miniature golf at the local Comac course. I could get through those windmills like nobody else.
That's impressive.
Nobody wants to hear me brag about my glory days back in 7th grade.
In middle school.
Or whatever it was. 8th grade. I don't know. I'm just making it all up anyway. I suck at anything athletic. But one thing I don't suck at is my enthusiasm for summer travel. And I got to tell you, Sarah, we are seeing people talk, and book. I know you want to talk about a study. Is it the one that MMGY Global put out?
Yes, exactly. So it's great. What I love about MMGY is that they really do a great job as far as understanding where consumer mindset is, especially when it comes to travel. And there are a lot of interesting things. I mean, obviously, we're in this together. We know, we get it. We're feeling this pent up demand, and people are feeling more comfortable planning something this summer because, of course, we have the vaccine rollout, all of that. So a couple of interesting things. Obviously, road trips will continue to boom, but they also found that 3 in 5 U.S. adults, so about 62%, expect to take at least one leisure vacation during the next 6 months, and their preferred mode of transportation will be in a car.
Right.
And 2 in 5, so 38% indicated that they will take a domestic flight. So it is interesting. Again, people are tiptoeing back out there. But the other more positive one is that in the next 12 months, 4 in 5, so 81% of U.S. adults expect to take at least one trip. So 81% of adults are really ready to get back out there. But the big thing is everybody is looking for deals. So, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this, Glenn, because it's like travelers that haven't maybe been, they maybe don't work in the industry. They're looking at it from the outside and being like, well, nobody's traveling. We should be able to get the best deals. And I think they're kind of finding
they would have if they had listened to our advice months ago to book their summer trips then. Now, the deal is you're going to be lucky if you get yourself any reasonable pricing. If you haven't booked your summer trip now's the time to do it, because hoteliers out there are going to be aggressive when the demand is there. They're hopefully going to have the opportunity where they can push those rates in order to try to make back some of the losses that everybody suffered over the last year. Daniel says the surge is coming. People love deals. I think that hoteliers have got to create fake deals that are out there. Kind of like when I go to the store and it's always either, it's always 20% off, but that it's 20% off a number that they made up anyway, right? So I think that might be a good approach for hoteliers to take. All right, I'm just half tongue in cheek on that, but I think there's some legitimacy to it.
No, there is. And I think one of the last little things that I wanted to kind of mention was this aspect of sustainability. Sustainability as far as people being mindful of that prior to the pandemic, it was on the rise, but we are seeing that's still very much on people's minds when it comes to, being mindful as far as sustainability when they're traveling. And they found that 83% of active leisure travelers overall, they have been indicating that they are open to changing some aspect of their travel behavior to reduce their impact on the environment. So that's 83% are open to changing their behavior which I find, I mean, that's great. And maybe it's because people are traveling to more open spaces, national parks, so that kind of goes hand in hand with it, but it's nice that that is still on people's minds.
It is, because it was completely forgotten about. And when I was at that hotel last week, the Crown Plaza Jacksonville Airport, which is a great property. They've just been through a great renovation, and I really enjoyed myself. They're still being forced, I guess, by jurisdiction or whatever, to use all these plastics and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's breaking my heart that all of this stuff was going on. But so it's really encouraging to see that focus on the environment has not been completely lost. And there's a great chance that that's going to be coming back, and we're all going to be able to do the right thing again when we're in the hospital.
Definitely. By the way, I love that you mentioned that, because I remember it was like all the big thing of like, no straws, no straws, no straws. And then when everybody had to wear their masks, and it was like, do you want a straw with that? Do you want a straw? Because nobody could drink properly with their mask on unless they had a straw. So I'm like, okay, cool. We'll just take a step back before we take a couple steps forward. But
not quite straws, but my son plays woodwind instruments in jazz band, and they put little slits in their masks so they could just put them in the mask and play and still have a relatively good sense of safety.
Interesting. That's very clever. It's so funny seeing all the different ways that, obviously that they had to think about that for him. Wow. I'm wondering how, hey, they're trying to do the right thing. I love that.
I know. All right, Sarah. Any final thoughts before we let you go today?
That is it. Just excited to kind of talk about, travel in a more optimistic way. Certainly interesting compared to what we see is going on in Europe. So I will say, knock on wood, with the vaccine rolling out relatively well here in the US, that, we're doing something right. So again, not a foolproof, doesn't mean that, you still have to be careful, but it's definitely increasing consumer confidence. So
right. Sorry, I keep looking down, but one of my cats is trying to get my attention.
Oh,
maybe you could co-host instead of Anthony for the rest of the day.
She might have a little bit more hair than him.
I know. So Pauline says Sarah is so bubbly. She is. That's why we're going to be having her on Friday Night Audit. Not this Friday, but the week after, a week from Friday. So join us. That's going to be 5 p.m. wherever you're watching this show now. 5 p.m. Eastern time, 2 p.m. Pacific time. So go ahead and watch that. And Sarah, I always feel badly for people. I think I said this last week, that are in Mountain Time Zone, Central Time Zone. Nobody cares about them. They have to do math all the time. It's a very difficult life, I would think, to lead. You're always subtracting 2 hours, adding 1 hour. I would get lost. So I'm glad I'm on the coast.
Same. Next time we'll just have all of them on the bottom.
I think so. That's a good idea. All right. So make sure you watch us at 3 a.m. Jakarta time. All right. So, thank you so much for being here. I'll talk to you later.
Thanks so much for having me. Bye, guys.
Let Anthony say goodbye to you.
Oh, Anthony, welcome back to the party.
Thank you for being the co-host of the show. I appreciate it.
No, it's perfect.
Right.
Hey, when you're live, sometimes you have a little bit of an emergency you have to deal with. So, but it's all good. Always a pleasure. I'm your biggest fan. When's the book coming out?
Okay. Yes. So had a couple delays. I'm going to be announcing the date probably next week. So
will you be announcing it on the show? When it drops, can you come on the show the day it drops?
Well, yeah, we can definitely do that. We'll make that happen.
Excellent.
As soon as I have the firm dates, we're making this happen.
What's the name of the book again?
Hospitality from Within.
And what is it about, Sarah?
Oh, Anthony, really? You're going to come in and do this now? It's about delivering thoughtful and genuine service, and just looking at hospitality from a little bit of a different standpoint, and sharing all sorts of incredible stories from concierge from around the world, as well as hospitality executives as well. So it's a good one.
Yes, and Sarah, just so you know, I can come into the show anytime I want and do this because it's my show.
I wasn't giving you a hard time.
Yes, apparently you are. I'm trying to promote your book, and you're giving me a hard time. Glenn, you look miserable. What's the matter, Glenn?
I was just preparing to go ahead and promote the adapters, which I out over here, and making sure that I had my paragraph to read for the shameless self-promotion when you quiz me on it. So
so why don't you read it? Why don't you do it right now? Sarah's on it, so we can do it.
All right. So the adapters, get it right now at Amazon.com. Amazon.com, the adapters. Go check out theadapters.net for not only this book, but the continuing series of videos that we're going to be doing. So Sloan Dean tells us that when he moved to Remington Hotels, two of the things he focused on were process and efficiency. Company had a handbook and other procedural records, but Dean found it didn't focus enough on measurable actions that drive customer satisfaction, where they simply set up a hero culture around individuals. When you start to scale a business, he said, it's all the emphasis on the individual knowledge of an individual and not a process. You can't replicate it. And looked at that and said, hey, we're going to be growing a lot. We need to have more streamlined process, training, and efficiency. So tune in, read the book, find out what he did next and how he adapted. How's that?
Very good,
well
my friend. Sarah, always a pleasure to see you. Go take on the world.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. I can't wait.
All right, bye-bye. All right, and from one guest to the other, Michael Shindler bringing the sexy back right now. How are you, friend? He runs Four Corners Advisors, of course, and today we're going to talk to Michael a little bit about what he's hearing, what he's seeing as we go forward. We've done plenty of the back. Now we're going to be moving forward. Michael, so great to see you, sir.
Hey, guys. How are you?
Great. How are you doing?
What's up, Michael? What's up, Michael?
I spent a lot of time at the Hard Rock in Tampa during my Hard Rock days.
Oh, did you? Well, it's a beautiful. They built another tower or something, or they renovated some floors or something.
And they're building they franchised a Reverb across the street, so they're going to be Hard Rock heavy.
All right, so Michael, hold on. Everyone take a deep breath. Michael actually worked with Hard Rock a number of years ago. That's how we met. That's where that reference comes from. So I just wanted to get that out there. Yep. And Reverb,
beautiful product.
Their newest brand that they put out there. I think they announced it the NYU conference 3 years ago or something.
Our friend Marco Rocco came in after me, and Marco had the idea to do that, and then they had it, and they had a little fight with our friends at Red Lion, and then they rolled it out, and I think there's now or 3 or 4 announced. So
yeah, some issues with the design scheme, and they got caught up in some issues over that.
Correct.
Yes,
that was all after me, though. So.
Right. Good point.
So, Michael, what's going on in the finance markets?
It's a lot slower than anybody might have expected. I think we expected there to be huge amounts of note sales, foreclosures, bankruptcies, asset sales, but we haven't seen that. The bid-ask prices are still, the delta is still pretty far. I think that this has been a more sympathetic financial crisis. And so forbearances have extended. Special servicers have not, what's the word I want to use, have not been overly aggressive in trying to take properties back. Lenders don't want properties back.
Wow.
I mean, I've spent over the last week, Thursday, Friday, and again today. And remember, I'm in Phoenix, so I was on a mediation at 7 a.m. Phoenix time today, and actually cut away because I had this commitment. We've probably been in about 13 hours, 12 and a half hours of mediation over a portfolio. And, everybody's
I'll be out in 1 hour.
Checkout time, Anthony. Tampa's the most successful casino maybe in the world. So the idea that they're trying to get him out so they can get new people in who actually might gamble is probably worthwhile.
Yeah.
So, this is the most successful casino?
The casino at the Hard Rock in Tampa may be the most successful casino in the United States. It's the benefit of a geographic monopoly within a couple of 100 miles.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, I'll tell you, it was pretty busy last night when I was walking through, and every time I come here, it's been pretty busy. And they do a nice job. They really do a nice job here.
Hey, they know what they're doing. So
they do. So are you saying that it's a little difficult to finance projects right now?
I think it's difficult. difficult finance projects. We're not seeing much financing, the stuff that's going out there. You don't see the full deal terms, but I think what you're hearing on financing, there may be some guarantees, there may be real equity components that are higher than what they used to be. The underwriting is very difficult. You tell me how a hotel is going to do the remainder of this year. And if a hotel is, you might have a Hampton Inn or a Fairfield Inn on the highway that has been successful, and you could pretty well underwrite that reasonably. But a 350 room group oriented box in New Orleans, tell me how to underwrite that. First half of the year in terms of group business is virtually non-existent. Everybody's trying to get for maybe the end of May, maybe you get some stuff in June. People are still booking July, August, September, but even the bookings, they're not as fast. Pace is down.
Well, why is the thinking so short term? It's like, why are we thinking this quarter, next quarter, this year, next year? Why aren't we looking at an asset of how it's performed over a period of time and what the future for that asset looks like 5 years from now? Why are we even looking at the next 6 or 12 months? Just
because
underwrite
the
that
owners
into
don't
the
have
deal.
any money. The owners don't have any money. I sent you guys some. I sent you guys some slides before this.
Oh, I didn't get them. Sorry.
That's all right. Not
Michael,
today.
just so you know, we're having difficulty with our producer. Our producer's just not really up to snuff, and we're gonna have to fire him, Michael. So if you know anyone, please let us know.
Or maybe said producer has just had enough and is going to go to Bhutan and take a vow of silence. I mean, I don't know.
Well, I guess it depends on who we're dealing with as the producer, because David's on top of everything.
David's on top of everything, but because David has returned to the full-time workplace, he's not able to be behind the scenes with us every day live on air. And I am responsible for stuff. And we've already well established that I'm horrific at it. And we're working on making sure that we have somebody here behind the scenes on.
Understood.
Yeah.
Understood. In any event.
Water in the bridge. Yes. Please continue. Yours much more interesting than my personal problems.
In 6 months, in the last 6 months, there's only been $1 billion of face amount of loans that have left special servicing. Now, to put that in perspective, that's out of $24 billion of loans, and only about $1 billion has left special servicing.
Wow.
All the brands, both on their managed and franchise properties, have deferred capital expenditures and new initiatives again this year.
Mm-hmm.
So people that had money used it to get their forbearances. They used it to do interest only. They're doing necessary capital. They're doing PPE type of capital that they had to do. They're trying to maintain as much of their workforce as they can. But by the same token, they don't want one body more than they have to have. There's no money. There's no flow to the bottom line. And you got a lender clamoring for its money. You got insurance going up. You got real estate taxes that are probably going down, but they got to be paid. So owners don't have all this extra money to think about 2022, 2023, 2024. And that's no less true in the big hotels and the group boxes and the urban core hotels than it is anywhere else with the moms and pops. So to me, the issue here is, where's the money coming from to pay August's debt service and September's debt service when there's no group business?
Right.
But how about the last stimulus from the government?
I think that's going to help. I think I haven't looked at the stock market this morning. I told my wife the market would be up today because of the announcement of the infrastructure program. And again, forgetting your politics here, every year you go to the NYU conference and John Tisch gives his welcoming speech and he talks about infrastructure. And the question is it airports, roads, bridges, highways, or train stations that is first on his list? Because it's been the same correctly fundamental speech for the last 15 years of the NYU conference. This infrastructure bill is going to be critical to restoring some of that confidence, jobs, travel, and stuff that our whole financial accounting system in the government is fakakta.
The stock market is up, by the way, Michael.
About 0.5% up right now, 156.01 and climbing 0.47%.
There you go. So, but I think the problem is that while there's no new CMBS loans being made, the delinquencies are still out there. There are workouts going on. The courts are still in many respects virtual, so that even those things that are going to receivership, those things that are going to foreclosure, they're taking forever. So I have been concerned. I wrote an article about it last May that I posted on LinkedIn. I am still really concerned about capital, where the owners have the money. And bigger, Anthony, you say, let's look forward to 2022 and 2023 and 2024. At some point, all of our brand friends are going to say, okay, all those deferred capital expenditures,
right,
you got to get them made. And where's that money going to come from?
Right. So let me see if I could just summarize what we've been talking about here to simplify it. There's a couple of different tracks that are happening that are all creating this particular type of situation. Number one, this has been a crisis that's been so deep and so difficult that we're seeing all the different entities be a little bit more friendly when it comes to terms, working things out. But simultaneously, everybody's backed up. So in the meantime, a lot of properties are not flipping hands right now, which is keeping the buy and ask a little bit wider apart than we need, while in the future bookings are preventing the income from really pushing up those prices and creating confidence for buyers to buy. And even if they could buy, where are they getting the money from? Is that kind of like the whole picture right there? Or did I miss something?
I think there's part of that. And the other part of it is that the lenders, this is collective, and I'm not criticizing them, it makes sense. They have properties that are clearly underwater. So the seller, the owner, can't go sell those because there's no assurance that they can pay off the mortgage. And the lenders are reluctant to say, well, our $15 million mortgage, if you bring us 11 million, we'll walk away from you. We'll release it, because that means they're taking a $4 million hit on that $15 million. So there's a lot of uncertainty about what a seller can actually sell for, and you'll never get the last dollar out of your buyers if you don't know that you're going to get a release of that mortgage or a write down of it so the buyer can take it on. So the uncertainty is in every aspect of the transactional side of our business.
So where do you see it 3 years from now, Michael? I know it's a hard question to answer.
Well,
You think you seem more concerned and a little nervous than most people that we've spoken to. So where are you seeing it go? I can understand your trepidation right now, and everything you're saying obviously makes sense. You're the expert. It's all explainable. By 24 months, do you still think you have a lot of these same concerns?
No, I think it starts to alleviate itself when we start to get corporate and group business back, because then you can start to be predictable. Right. And the issue is the bridge. Now, all of those experts that are now saying it's going to be late 24, 25 when we return to our pre-COVID numbers, I have said that all along, because it just seemed it was getting too deep and it was so uncertain. And groups are all about certainty. If McCormick Place can't host the auto show, then February in Chicago is over. It's done, because that's 2 or 3 weeks of big business. Or the cardiologists or the radiologists and all those guys that do annual shows, go around the country to big convention spaces. And if they can't group them, and they got to do it a year, 2.5 years in advance. I'll do a plug for my daughter-in-law. She's a corporate event planner. She did all of 2020's programs for her company online, with 3 screens in their living room while she's dealing with all this stuff. organizing the logistics and delivering the gifts and all that stuff. 2021, it looks like they're postponed and hope to have a program later this year, their first program since 2019. How is she able to plan? I mean, she is starting to travel. I think she's actually in Hawaii right now looking at making a site visit. She was in San Diego a couple of weeks ago doing a site inspection. So it seems that company is starting to look at it. When every other company, or 90% of every other company, starts to do that, then we'll have some predictability. So if indeed the groups come back in 23 and 24 and start to ramp up in 2022, then I'll be less concerned about then, but I'm still worried about the capital bridge between now and then. I think we're going to see a big reshuffle at some point in ownership.
Right.
Do you think that the A markets, the New Yorks, the LA, San Francisco, do you think that there's going to be a percentage of business, of group business, of corporate business that are going to go to the B markets and stay in the B markets? Because it's a lot cheaper to do business in Long Beach, California, than it is to do in LA or New York.
Some, but I think, you remember the headline when President Ford said, Ford to New York dropped dead, and it was pretty close.
New York great. I remember.
Oh, you are a youngster, Anthony. New York came back. New York is always going to come back. I think LA is always going to come back. The question is there going to be this reluctance to be the first group into New York and the first group into LA? Sure. But exactly when that's going to happen, if groups really start coming back in 2022 and ramped up in 2023, then New York and LA will be back in 2024.
Right.
They may not be the
groups
first
are coming
ones.
back. Groups are coming back, and groups coming back in the end of 2021, 2022. I mean, the way the vaccine program is working. I mean, my friend's on the movie set right now. Everybody's basically vaccinated on the movie set. I'm sure, Michael, you've already got your vaccination. Glenn got his vaccination. I got mine.
I'm a month into after my second already. So
right. Yeah. So am I. So my point being is, it's coming back, and it's going to come back quicker than everybody anticipates. That's my opinion.
Right. Well, I've got a concern about events coming back, not whether or not they will come back, but because so many events have been pushed off, will people actually be able to attend all of the events that are happening? I'm just looking at the hospitality industry, for example. Typically, we have Alice January, NYU in June, right? March is the Hunter Conference, which is taking place in May. And then you got, Harry's event, the Lodging Conference, September, October, depending on when the Jewish holidays fall. Everybody's pushing back now to the fall. Who's going to make the investment to go to one of them in September, one of them in October, one of them in November, on top of all of this, to hear the same thing and possibly be with the same people so close? So I'm worried that we're going to
this year, though, Glenn. I suspect Alice is going July. I'm assuming we'll have Alice in January again next year.
I heard
Jonathan will reclaim June, and Hunter will do March, etc. So.
Also, on another topic, Red Edwards says the Chinese have money, offer a citizen package with the purchase. They already have that. It's called the EB-5 visa. Michael, maybe you could explain that a little bit and how people could use that as a mechanism to generate cash investment.
Well, typically the way it's worked is that you set out a tranche of your capital stack, usually a significant tranche. I think the number's up to $750 for a family. But then you go raise money overseas. It doesn't have to be China. It can be anywhere. Everybody thinks of it as a Chinese directed program, but it's really not.
Any
you go out and you package part of your tranche. It's not typically as expensive as regular equity because it comes with that green card. But there have been some problems with the EB-5 program. And the idea is that if an investor in China or Saudi Arabia or Timbuktu, literally, invest $750,000 in that, and it is an appropriately approved EB-5 project, and it doesn't have to be Opportunity Zone. It's a project that meets certain standards, and you have to go through to get government approval. You raise that money, that investor gets a green card. exactly what the timing of that is, I'm not sure. I think it takes a long time to investigate before the green card is actually granted, particularly with the slow up with the border and immigration and so forth. But it enables that holder to have a green card like any other, and a resident permit to come live in the US, even if they don't choose to live here. And it's typically less expensive in terms of what you have to provide to your equity partners because it comes with the green card. But it's cumbersome. It's much more costly to raise the money. You're paying fees and all the processing. But it is one avenue for, let's call it, higher net worth Chinese investors. And we're not talking about billionaires. We're talking about people that can scrape together the cash to do that because they want the green card.
Right.
How about right now, Michael? Maybe you can explain to the audience a PACE loan. Are PACE loans attractive now? Are companies getting those?
I can explain. The PACE loan is based on sustainability going into a new project, and first mortgage lenders have been friendly to PACE loans. Equity has been friendly to PACE loans. I honestly don't know the exact terms of the PACE loans, but typically you can borrow on those things that go into a project or into a renovation that have green capability, and that you can segregate those, borrow against them on favorable terms. There may actually be some subsidy to the principal of the amount of the loan, but I could be wrong on that.
Okay, that's good. That's pretty good information, though, all around. Excellent, Anthony. Any more questions before we have Michael wrap up his general thoughts for where we're going to be?
Michael, if you hang around for 5 minutes, are you going to be around in the green room for a few minutes so we can chatter?
Absolutely.
All
All right.
Any final points that you want to make before we wrap up today? Because Anthony's got to go catch a plane and stuff like that. So
yeah, I am hopeful that we'll start to see some transactional green shoots talking about either purchases and full scale redevelopment. I've had a couple of inquiries about that over the last, call it, month, 6 weeks, about possibly providing services to that. I've heard a couple of things from my network about developments, particularly outside of the US, Caribbean, Mexico, resort developments. So I'm sort of hopeful that some of that stuff is about to come back. And we'll start to see announcements of new developments. I still, Anthony, I don't want to be the bad guy, but I do think we have a capital bridge that has to be provided. There is plenty of capital sitting on the sidelines for those transactions. Once all the predicate to the transactions getting completed, a lender that's prepared to take a write down if necessary. How much is that write down? An owner that's prepared to sell or allow rescue capital to come in. It's very expensive, and it's a challenge on that. How flexible the brands continue to be in terms of their capital requirements in hotels with their brands on them. I don't see the short-term solution, the near-term solution. The long-term solution is that our business, what you talked about with Sarah before I came on, the business will take care of itself. But that doesn't mean the ownership and the capital and the financial markets are also going to come along. And as we've learned over the years, a good stock market doesn't necessarily mean that everybody's eating a steak for dinner.
right.
So.
Excellent. If you were to invest today, you could do any kind of hospitality related investment. What would it be?
I'm probably still in the highway limited service.
Yep.
The what? The what?
Highway related limited service. Hamptons,
Yep.
Fairfields. I think Wyndham's done a great job with La Quinta. It'd be interesting to see. The one I'm most interested in watching right now, you guys have talked about it quite a bit, is Sinesta, a company that has had entirely inorganic growth with a brilliant play by Service Properties Trust to turn all those properties over to Sinesta. They are going to explode They announced franchising yesterday.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going in all these directions at once, and I'd be concerned if I'm Carlos Flores, I think, is
Yep.
right. Is just how do you manage this explosive growth when you go from 50 properties to 1,200 properties in the course of a year? And I'm watching that with interest because I admire it. I think Service Properties made a great play, but that's sort of the thing that I'm watching right now in the hotel space. It's intellectual interest for me. I got no play.
And another brand, the Best Western brand has been doing a really good job over the years, over the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years.
I think we forget how bright and how there present David Kong is.
Yes, David Kong has been the CEO of that company for 11 or 12 years already.
Yeah, long time.
Long time for a hotel industry CEO. Little show note, Carlos Flores, the CEO of Sonesta that Michael just mentioned, will be here on the 27th of April, returning to the show. He's already been on here a couple of times as we followed through the story. Congratulations to Brian Quinn, a buddy of mine who is now the Chief Development Officer over there at Sonesta. Great job, Carlos, picking him. It'll be interesting to see how him and Keith Pierce really get everything together going forward. And Anthony?
And don't forget my friend Ron Paul at Best Western. He's done a really, really good job of really, really moving that brand. And so those are the hotels I'm looking at for the partners that we're working with. And those are meaning all those kind of limited service, not specifically one brand. Those seem to be the hotels that are doing well and bringing money to the bottom line. So, Michael, as always, an honor and a pleasure.
It's my 6th time, guys. I looked it up.
Thank you, Mike.
On seventh time, you get a free chicken.
I get a what?
Free chicken.
Oh, that's exciting. I mean, it's not as exciting as the Saturday Night Live 5 Timers Club. You won't get you won't get the robe, you won't get all of that kind of stuff, but you'll get a chicken.
Well, maybe after 7, you'll invite me to be on Friday Audit. If I'm in Phoenix, it'll be 2:00 in the afternoon. But
I'd love it. I would love it. We don't even have to wait till 7. We'll get you on there. All right, hang out backstage. Let Anthony and I wrap up, and then we'll talk to you.
You got it. Take care.
Oh, sorry. All right, thank you, sir. All right. So, speaking of Best Western, Dorothy Dowling, the Chief Marketing Officer, is going to be here on the 28th of April, the day after Carlos Flores. You won't want to miss that. Monday. Can't tell you where we're going to be, but we're going to be at the most amazing freaking location. I am so excited about that show. On Tuesday, we'll be at the Pierre Hotel. Anthony, any final thoughts?
I thought you said we were going to be at a great location, then you gave away.
No, Tuesday we'll be at the Hotel. Monday, super secret location. Tuesday, the Pierre Hotel.
I gotcha.
All right.
It's so super secret, I don't even know where it is.
Yeah. Don't worry. I'll tell you as soon as we get off the air. And you may already know. You just said too much.
I know.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Remember, follow us online. I'm at Traveling Glenn. That's Anthony Hotels. Subscribe to our audio-only podcast. Hey, can't be beat if you're not already subscribed. What are you waiting for? We're in the top 0.5% of all podcasts on the entire planet. Maybe even Pluto. I saw somebody talking about Pluto over there, so I'm pretty sure we are part of former planets and the top podcasts over there as well. Thanks for watching us today. Remember, everybody got one life, so blaze on. And Anthony,
be kind to yourself.
see you all next week. Watch Friday Night Audit.